The mountains of northern Italy were not made of stone and pine. They were made of shadows and silence. Private Silas Thorne pulled his wool coat tighter, feeling the damp chill of the Apennine peaks seep into his marrow. High above the winding mountain passes, the Germans had built the Gothic line, a series of concrete bunkers and machine gun nests carved directly into the ancient rock. Silas and his squad were moving in total darkness. They didn't use flashlights, and they didn't smoke. Even a single match strike could bring a mortar shell screaming down on their heads. The only sound was the rhythmic clack-clack of their gear and the heavy breathing of men climbing a slope that felt like a vertical wall. "One step at a time," Sergeant Miller whispered from the front of the line. "Watch for loose shale. If you slip, don't scream." Silas gripped his rifle, the wood slick with the mountain mist. He was 19, a boy from the flat plains of Iowa who had never seen a mountain until the Army shipped him across the Atlantic. To him, these peaks felt like giants watching their every move. Suddenly, the sky above them lit up. It wasn't the moon. It was a German flare, hanging in the air like a cruel artificial sun. The world turned a ghostly, brilliant white. Silas froze, pressing his body against a jagged limestone outcrop. He held his breath, praying that his olive-drab uniform would blend into the gray shadows of the rock. The flare hissed as it drifted down, casting long, dancing shadows. In that terrifying light, Silas looked up and saw the muzzle of a German MG-42 peering from a slit in the bunker just 50 yards above them. He could see the glint of the metal. The flare flickered out, plunging them back into a darkness that felt even deeper than before. "They haven't seen us yet," Miller's voice came from the dark, "but they know someone's on this ridge. We move now, or we wait for the sun to kill us." They crawled. Silas used his fingers to find cracks in the rock, pulling his body upward inch by inch. His fingernails were torn and bleeding, but the adrenaline had numbed the pain. They reached the base of the bunker, so close they could hear the muffled sound of a radio playing a German waltz inside the concrete walls. Miller handed Silas a satchel charge, a heavy canvas bag filled with explosives. "You're the smallest, Silas. Slip under the vent. Count to 5, and then run like the devil is chasing you." Silas took the bag. He felt a strange, cold clarity come over him. He crept to the side of the bunker, feeling the heat from the ventilation pipe. He smelled tobacco and wood smoke from within. He set the fuse, slid the bag into the opening, and turned. He didn't run. He leaped. He threw himself down the slope, sliding through the scree and thorns. Boom! The mountain shook. A roar of orange flame punched through the night, throwing a shower of concrete and dust into the air. The waltz stopped. The machine gun went silent. Silas tumbled into a thicket of scrub oak, his head ringing and his lungs gasping for air. The silence that followed was heavy and thick. Slowly, one by one, the men of his squad emerged from the shadows, looking like ghosts covered in gray dust. They didn't cheer. They just looked at the smoking hole in the mountainside, and then at the next peak looming in the distance. As the first hint of gray light began to touch the eastern summits, Silas looked down at his ruined hands. He had survived the night, but the mountains stretched on forever, peak after peak, ridge after ridge. He stood up, adjusted his pack, and began the long walk toward the next shadow.